Sinister forces on the move. Asajj Ventress has suffered a humiliating betrayal at the hands of her own assassin, Asajj Ventress. Having gone into hiding, she now has no choice but to seek sanctuary with the Nightsisters of Dathomir.
Greetings once again, Bucketheads. Mayvar Chigar. Welcome to the 151st Nightsisters Go Night Night episode of Mandovision. Nargai Tom, and thank you so much for checking out and supporting this small, independent Star Wars podcast. We are so glad you're here. Old listeners, welcome back. New listeners, welcome aboard. Hope you have fun and stick around forever, because that's how we like it. Remember, the best way to reach out to us is, of course, via social media. We are at Mando_Vision on Twitter and Instagram. You can email the show, mandovisiontom@gmail.com. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, following, and sharing the show with all the other Mandalorians in your covert. How is everyone doing? Welcome back to another exciting installment of Star Wars: The Clone Wars Rewatch Mondays? ? This could be a Friday, too. I've lost track. I've completely lost track. It wouldn't be that hard to figure it out. I like the randomness of it all. And it keeps me on my toes, I suppose. And I want to keep you on your toes, because you never know. Maybe I'll just drop these on a Thursday. Who knows what could happen? Anything could happen Thursday. It's been known to occur. Well, we are here. I teased it last week. We're to the final 4 episodes, I should say, of Season 4 for Star Wars: The Clone Wars. And yeah, this has been a real great ride in this season. I've really had a blast with just about every single episode of the season. You know, there are high watermarks and you know, lower watermarks, but I really think this is like this season has way more, you know, hits than misses by far. There's a couple episodes, you know, even some of the lesser great ones in the earlier seasons. This ones that aren't as great as the other ones in the season are better than those ones. Does that make sense? I don't know. Let's just say the bar is higher in Season 4, and the level of quality is really, really high on these episodes too, which is really great to see. And these final 4 episodes of the season are raising that mark once again, because we are getting to something really, really special, really, really exciting here, and it's actually going to like really kind of dovetail nicely when Kenobi starts at the end of May. Because we are getting into the return of Maul, and I don't know how much more exciting it can get than that. You know, I'll talk more about Maul and his return when we get to those episodes, but just knowing that it's right around the corner, yeah, it fills me up with a lot of excitement. But these next episodes here, this one in particular today, is outstanding stuff. We're spending some time back. We're going back to Dathomir, back to the Nightsisters, back to Mother Talzin, and most importantly, back to Asajj Ventress herself, who we haven't seen this entire season. After everything that happens at the end of Season 3 with her, the betrayal of Asajj Ventress, and the failed assassination of Count Dooku, she's been laying low. And now it's time for her to head back to Dathomir. And what we get in this episode, I mean, listen, spoilers, they put it out on Front Street. This episode's titled Massacre. And that is what we're going to witness. We are going to witness the massacre of the Nightsisters at the hands of General Grievous and the Separatist Droid Army. And it's a pretty brutal, action-packed episode of the show. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun talking about it, getting into it. If you're a fan of video games, and you played Star Wars Fallen Order, you will probably remember the character Marin, who was her story in that game is that she was just a child, a young Night Sister at the time of this. But she talks about this event in that game, so kind of creates that cohesive narrative for the Night Sisters, who are basically pushed to the brink of extinction in this very episode here. And then Marin, one of the few survivors of this episode, comes into play later on in the Fallen Order adventures on your PlayStation and Xbox. Which, by the way, a great character. Really had a lot of fun with that character in the game. And over the years, my appreciation for the Night Sisters has grown so much. If you're an old fan like me, you probably remember the first time going to Dathomir, reading about the Night Sisters, and it was in the Dave Wolverton novel, The Courtship of Princess Leia, which is the original story of how Han Solo and Princess Leia got married in their unusual courtship. And it is a book filled with many strange things, but stuff that current creators liked enough to incorporate into the new canon, to bring with them into Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Obviously Lucas and Filoni really liked what Wolverton did with Dathomir and with the Night Sisters, and let's bring that element over into Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and let's do something with that and have some fun with that idea. And that's exactly what we did. I know some of this might sound like repeating myself, because Dave Wolverton passed away a few months ago, and I know I sort of addressed this at the time of his passing. But for anyone new to the show, this is old Expanded Universe stuff. So one of the first examples of the old Expanded Universe kind of coming over into the new canon was Dathomir and the Night Sisters. So that's really exciting for us older fans that are out there who read those books when I was in middle school or high school. I forget which one. Either late middle school or early high school when I read Courtship of Princess Leia, to give you all far too much information about just how freaking old I am. My goodness gracious. But so we're going to spend some time with the Night Sisters and sort of see the end of the Night Sisters. I mean, or at least of a very drastically reduced Night Sisters. I don't know where that we really stand with them further down into the timeline, because the new canon's timeline gets a little muddied around the time of the original trilogy. But again, that's another topic for another day. And we can speculate our brains out, which is one of the fun things we like to do in the podcast on occasion. But not today. Not today. We are here to focus on the episode. So let's get into it. Let's give you the particulars. Let's give you the details, the lowdown, the dirt, if you will. This is Massacre, Season 4, Episode 19. Original air date, February 24th, 2012. Our plot this week: Asajj Ventress returns to Dathomir to become a true Night Sister. But then Count Dooku orders General Grievous to wipe out Mother Talzin and her entire clan of witches. Episode directed by the great Stuart Lee, written by Katie Lucas, who at this point is like the official biographer of Asajj Ventress at this point, and again delivers a really knockout, fantastic story that again just gets us invested and interested in the Ventress character in a way that I don't think many of us thought we would get to when she was in season 1 and season 2. We really grow to get familiar with this character and the connections to her. Our voice cast this week: Barbara Goodson, Rita Repulsa herself as Mother Talzin, Nika Futterman returns as Asajj Ventress, Matthew Wood is General Grievous in the Battle Droids, Corey Burton is Count Dooku, Catherine Tabor as Karis, Catherine Gotti is Oldaka, who's one of the elder Night Sisters, Karen Pifko is a Night Sister, Jamie King is Luce and a Night Sister, Lucy, is it Luce or Lucy? Not sure. I don't remember. And Tom Kane is our narrator. Our Jedi fortune cookie this week. It's not, the super hard-hitting sort of fortune cookie that we've had in the past. Some of the fortune cookies in this back half of the season are sort of just only loosely connected with the story here. There's not like a lot of deeper subtext in them. This is one must let go of the past to hold on to the future. And I think this is an extremely literal interpretation of what is going to happen for Ventress here, for her to move herself forward into the future. That's because her past is about to get massacred by the hands of General Grievous and the droids. But we got a great episode to look forward to talking about, and I can't wait to get into it with you guys. So you know what that means. It's time. Strap on your buckets. Let's go.
Sister, I knew you'd return. I've been hiding, reevaluating. I suspected as much. Savage, that monster we created, has forsaken us. He refused my guidance and escaped into the galaxy. I have nothing. You have your breath, your skill, and your sisters. You have everything needed to survive. You must give up the ways of the Sith and return to our fold. You will leave Dooku's absurd war behind and remain with us, no longer to be ordered about. You will be loyal to no one but your sisters and yourself. And then you will fulfill your destiny and become a true Nightsister.
Well, that all sounds well and good for Asajj Ventress, but via information from an unknown source, Count Dooku has also learned that Asajj Ventress has returned to Dathomir, and he still has quite the grudge against his former assassin, and he has summoned General Grievous to have a little conversation about that.
You summoned me, my lord?
The time has come at last to take revenge on Asajj Ventress and the witch Mother Talzin. I have learned Ventress has returned to Dathomir. Go there and wipe the witches out. All of them. Their illusions do not frighten me.
Yes, master.
And as we know, Dooku greatly underestimated the power of the Nightsisters and of Mother Talzin herself. But what we're going to get is, again, it's just a wonderful battle, basically. And we really get to see how deadly the Droid Army can be as they do a very, I don't want to say admirable, that's not the right word, but I mean, they have a complete massacre on their hands. They eliminate the Nightsisters and their undead forces, which we haven't talked about yet, but we will. But the next sequence here, we're going to go back to Dathomir and sort of see a cleansing ritual performed on Ventress, sort of washing the sins of her past away, kind of washing the Sith away from her, right? It's not a cleansing in the sense of an actual physical cleaning of her soul or spirit, but it's a rebirth sort of ceremony. And I think that's important for the character who has been trying to find her identity for so long. You know, for a long time it was be a Jedi, then be a Sith. Now it's like, no, be who you were born to be. Be a Nightsister. And so it's sort of a spell to sort of forget all that other nonsense. Get the Jedi off. Get the Sith off. Let's start fresh, and let's get you back on the path that you were always meant to be on. Which, again, as Mother Talzin says, is Ventress finding her destiny.
Do you pledge yourself to the sisterhood, to the magics, and the old ways?
I do.
Do you abandon your old life for this new one?
I do.
Your loyalty, your life.
My loyalty, my life.
Now she begins the spell, the cleansing, the baptism, as she will call it, of Asajj Ventress, and thus welcoming her to the sisterhood.
You are now reborn a sister of the night. Welcome.
Thank you, Mother.
And now we feast and celebrate the baptism of our new sister.
And this is when Dooku's forces arrive. General Grievous and an entire fleet of battle droids arrive into the system, and they are about to bring down the fire on Dathomir.
Droid fighters, scatter!
Prepare yourselves, sisters. The war has come to Dathomir.
So as the Nightsisters fall back to their citadel, this allows Grievous the opportunity to put more droids on the ground, the super battle droids, more clankers, and they're going to blaze a path to their fortress. Meanwhile, the Nightsisters are preparing their defense, and Ventress is already upset at herself that the only reason why they're here is because of her, and she's very upset about that. But Mother Talzin knows that this seems like it was in the cards. I think Mother Talzin is not terribly surprised by this. Again, she's been playing a deadly game with Dooku back when they first got involved in this Savage Opress scenario. You know, Talzin and Dooku have a history that I would like to see explored more in other stories sometime. But we have to sort of infer a lot based off of the limited interactions we have between the two characters, that there is a history there. And Mother Talzin is a savvy character. You know, she seems to sort of be playing the long game here. And is the sacrifice of the Nightsisters part of her plan? I guess we'll have to wait and see, right?
Gather your weapons! The Droid Army is only here because of me, and so many are going to die. There is no time for regret. Now we must fight! That gutless coward Grievous is coordinating the attack. I can sense it. You know the droids. It gives us an advantage.
So it's not long after this that Nightsisters begin to die in the battle. Ventress's new family, pardon me for the stumble there, begins to die very, very quickly. But they're mounting a solid defense. We're seeing light bows being used against the droids. Mother Talzin, no pushover herself as she unleashes her Nightsister magics. Again, Force magics. We should not understate that. Do not pass that over. That the magics of the Nightsisters is tied and connected to the Force in some way. We'll talk about the spirituality of all these different cultures down the road at some point when we get to experience more of them in the shows. But yeah, there is a connection there to the Force, and it's a different interpretation of the Force as we know it. But they're formidable, but they know that they will be overrun and outnumbered. And Ventress and Talzin in particular, has a plan.
We will need an army to fight Grievous.
I will speak with old Daka. She will get us the reinforcements we need.
And then Ventress will lead the charge.
Follow me, sisters. Attack!
And Ventress with these lightsabers is awesome. Just cutting her way through the battle droids, much like we've seen Anakin and Obi-Wan do over the years, Ahsoka as well. She's just so formidable with these blades, and getting to see her defending the Nightsisters against the battle droids is really, really exciting, really, really fun, especially as we've gotten to know and grow with this character more, as she's been trying to get out of these molds that these former masters have tried to put her in, and now she has someone who wants her to be her own person, to be free of these constraints that other masters have shackled on her, and now she has to fight to save them and herself. So Grievous is ordering more heavy artillery to be used against the Nightsisters' resistance. Mother Talzin is making moves of her own. She has dispatched 2 Nightsisters to find a metallic sphere hidden in her chamber. And now she's off to see old Daka, who's going to get the reinforcements that the Nightsisters need to have a chance in this battle. And if you have played Fallen Order, as we mentioned before, you may know what's coming next. But let's hear the conversation with old Daka.
Daka, as the oldest and wisest of us, I need you to resurrect our fallen sisters. Ventress will need the aid of the undead army to achieve victory.
Then I will begin the chant of resurrection. Chunos lalem deni deloriulie, luce novadem clavlane, lene vedinalem corim.
All right, that's enough of Daka, because old Daka scares me. That voice is terrifying. If I were to hear that in the middle of the night with the lights off, I would be having accidents all over myself. It would not be a pretty picture. That is a scary voice. That is the voice of a horror movie right there, folks. Ooh, but Daka, using her powers to summon fallen Nightsisters to come back to life, an army of the undead at the control of the Nightsisters. Again, if you've played Fallen Order, you've seen this power at use. The spell still in effect on Dathomir as those forces rally against you when you're Cal Kestis and you're running around trying to get some, valuable force points and lightsaber stuff. But yeah, I love how much watching this episode, how much of this episode influences your time on Dathomir in Fallen Order. The visuals for the Nightsisters, the whole thing. It's all just, again, we've seen the Nightsisters before, but this episode I think references things a little bit more heavily, and it's just a really, really nice thing to kind of see. Again, that sort of not cultural, my goodness, but just sort of that, connectivity. The I can't think of the word I want to use. I had it on the tip of my tongue a moment ago, and it's completely escaped me, but. Again, sort of like that, I guess we'll have to go with connection because that's all I can think of right now. But having that connection from Star Wars: The Clone Wars to that game, that continuity, I think is the word I was actually looking for, between the two mediums, just really, really delightful. All right, I know you all want to hear it. Let's hear what it sounds like when you raise a Nightsister, a dead Nightsister.
Rise, awake, dead sisters. Rise, awake, dead sisters.
It's them coming out of their cocoons, their burial cocoons. Utterly terrifying, in my opinion. I know the droids don't experience fear, but that would, if I were a droid, I think I'd be scared of that. If I heard that, I'd be like, oh boy, that is not something I want to encounter on the battlefield. So the Nightsisters are under attack from the heavy artillery when that terrifying death scream comes to their aid.
The army of the dead are reinforcements.
And these undead Nightsisters, again, fierce, just tearing through battle droids, cutting through them like their hands are made of lightsabers almost. My goodness! And again, these are not the George Romero undead. No. These are Zack Snyder running zombies, full speed army of the dead kind of thing going on. Fierce, and a great visual. It's such a weird, wild battle for Star Wars, right? Like we haven't seen this thus far in the Clone Wars. We haven't seen an army of the undead being unleashed against battle droids. This is awesome. This is so freaking cool. And again, then you have the other Nightsisters with their light bows and their weapons. Ventress with her two red-bladed lightsabers, following them into action. It's awesome. It looks so fantastic. It's such a great visual. And again, you have that creepy presence, that creepy setting of Dathomir with its deeper shades of red all around it. The battle looks fantastic, in my opinion. It's so unique in relation to other battles we've seen in Star Wars: The Clone Wars. I absolutely love it. So as Ventress and her forces, along with the undead, seem to be turning the tide against Grievous and the battle droids, we check back in with Mother Talzin. The two other Nightsisters who she dispatched to find the sphere in her chambers have returned with it. And now we find out what's so special about this sphere.
Here it is. A single lock of Count Dooku's silver hair. He should be more careful than making deals with witches.
So now the other two Nightsisters bring over this like giant cauldron for Mother Talzin, and what she's going to do with this lock of hair, she's basically going to sculpt the Dathomir equivalent of a voodoo doll on Count Dooku. Now, he has stated he's not afraid of their illusions, but this will be no illusion, as Count Dooku is about to get severely messed up at the hands of Mother Talzin. And again, I mean, what we can't obviously call it a voodoo doll. It's Star Wars, so a Nightsister doll, a Dooku doll. I don't know. We need to name this doll immediately. I think that's what we need to spend our time on social media doing, is naming what this doll should be. But again, it does a lot of damage to Dooku, and he lets them know that Mother Talzin and her quote-unquote illusions are not to be trifled with. So as Mother Talzin is now going after Dooku directly with the voodoo doll, let's check back in onto the battlefield, where, again, Ventress has turned the tide. And, again, some great maneuvers. Ventress running along the tops of the heads of the battle droids as she's cutting them down. It's all fantastic. And now we get to a confrontation, a battle between Ventress and General Grievous. Let's see how this is going to turn out.
Surprised?
Hardly. You are the one I was sent here for.
Then fight me alone. Prove you're the greater warrior. If I win, your army leaves. If you win, the Nightsisters will surrender to you.
I have always been greater than you.
All right, so they're about to get into a nice lightsaber battle, which again, of course, Grievous will do underhanded, dirty dealings. But I want to ask a question here at this point in the episode. Now, again, we are limited by what we see on the screen visually, but it doesn't look like there's that many battle droids remaining. But there could be more. It doesn't look like there's that many Nightsisters and Army of the Undeads remaining. But Ventress stopping them here when the tide had turned, and I feel like momentum was on her side. But to stop and engage in a direct battle with Dooku, or oh my goodness, to engage in a direct battle with Grievous, smacks of vanity in my opinion. Again, I'm only seeing what I can see on the screen. Perhaps there are far more battle droid forces on the surface than I'm being led to believe with this particular shot that we are seeing right now. And perhaps this is Ventress's way of ending the conflict by having a quote-unquote honorable battle against General Grievous, a known cheater and liar and deceiver and all the other things. Breakers of truths and oaths. Breaker of oaths, I guess, is the word I want to go with. The term I want to go with. So I'm just curious, do we think there's more battle droids here than what we're seeing? Do we think there's more of the Nightsister forces that we aren't seeing? Or is this Ventress making a desperate gamble to end things with honorable combat against an unhonorable opponent? That's what I sort of want to wonder here, because I would imagine Ventress can't be surprised that Grievous is so deceptive and will break his word and have the battle droids, once it seems like he's about to lose, has the battle droids attack Ventress. It's in Grievous's character. This is what he does. But gross. So yeah, do you think Ventress made a mistake here by stopping when she had the momentum, when the Nightsisters and the undead Nightsisters seem to have the upper hand? Let me know what you think. All right, let's go back to Mother Talzin and the Voodoo Dooku doll, and she's putting the screws to it real good here. Dooku not doing well. In a desperate attempt to save himself, is going to make contact now in the middle of the battle to Grievous with new orders.
Grievous, you must stop Mother Talzin before she kills me. Follow the witch's magic. It appears as a green mist. Follow it to its source and eliminate Talzin. Quickly!
Forget Ventress. Our new target is Mother Talzin. Follow me.
So now Grievous is hot on the trail, following the green mist back to the hidden chamber where Talzin is doing the Voodoo Dooku doll dance. But she's about to have a little communication with Count Dooku of her own via this terrifying, fiery image of herself that's going to pop out of his chest. It's quite a visual. It's very, very interesting, but I love it. And I love seeing Dooku on the ropes here against something he has no protection against, no way of stopping. He just has to hope that Grievous will get to Talzin in time before she extracts her revenge against him. But let's hear them have their little communication. And Mother Talzin kind of tell off Dooku here.
Call off your arm and leave Dathomir at once.
can let you and that traitor continue plotting against me. Never.
You're going to die either way. It's only a matter of how painful it will be.
So it looks like it's going to be pretty painful. And you have to, again, I'm not sure admires the right word, but you definitely have to observe and acknowledge Dooku's strength of conviction in this situation. I mean, he, again, desperately on the ropes here. He knows that Talzin has the power to kill him. And he's just trying to hang on as long as he can, giving Grievous a chance to eliminate Talzin so that he does not have to back down, so that he can hold Ventress and Mother Talzin and the Nightsisters accountable for what he considers plotting against him. So, admirable? Question mark? So the Droid Army is about to blast their way into the hidden chamber, and things aren't going to go well for Daka or Talzin here. Let's check it out. And the death of Daka means no more army of the undead on your side, which leaves our living Nightsisters in a bad spot against the remaining battle droids on the battlefield, and it's not going to go well for them. So what we see here is sort of, it's sort of like in my opinion, it is sort of like the Nightsisters equivalent of what we see Obi-Wan Kenobi do in Episode 4 on the Death Star, when they're having the battle, Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader, and he says, "If you strike me down, I will become more powerful than ever." Excuse me, my goodness, because the battle droids, begin to attack, shoot her. And she turns in, she basically like force ghosts, right? She does like the Nightsisters equivalent of force ghosting, and leaves her body, joins with the force, the Nightsisters magics, whatever they want to call it, is basically non-corporeal now, but more powerful than you can possibly imagine in many ways, because Mother Talzin's physical form may be gone, but she still has a role to play in things to come. And we'll see a little bit more of that here in just a moment, as she begins to force ghost her way to Ventress.
It is over, sister. No one remains. This is all my fault. Where do I go? What do I do? This chapter is over. Your destiny will always be linked with ours. But you have your own path to follow now. No! Wait! You can't leave me here!
Boom! And that appears to be it for the Nightsisters. What is Ventress to do now? She had just found a home. She had just found a new family. She had just found a new path to be on. And it's taken away from her, ripped away from her by her former master, Count Dooku. Man with a grudge to hold, for sure. Now she has one as well. And now Ventress is back to being somewhat aimless, rudderless, directionless. And where will that take her? Well, we're going to find out in next week's installment. And what the path will be that she has to put herself on next. Again, we know ultimately that Ventress' story gets cut short in the animated series, and picked up in the Dark Disciple book that Christy Golden writes based off of Katie Lucas's undeveloped scripts that were supposed to be in season 6. But there's still more to play with Ventress for now. Don't give up on her just yet. We got more to cover with Ventress here before we're done. But again, if you've read Dark Disciple, you know ultimately where we go with the character and where she ends up at and what path she ends up on. But we have an exciting installment next week to talk about with more Ventress action in it as well. So that is Massacre, Season 4, Episode 19, and I absolutely love this one. It's got so many elements into it that we don't really typically get to see in a Star Wars show. Basically, like zombies. I'm talking about space zombies. You know, we had a little bit of zombie action with those wormy guys that go into your brain. This is different. The brain worms versus actual undead, like Nightsisters magic used to bring the dead back up. In very terrifying fashion. I mean, this would be this might be the closest you get to like a Star Wars Halloween kind of show. This is pretty intense stuff. I love it. It's almost 9 buckets. I'm such a big fan of this episode because it really just goes for it. It really goes for the throat, if you will. And I dig that about it. It's exciting. Ventress is a fantastic character. I love the arc, the path that we find her on, her overall arc that we find her in right now. You know, kind of at a low point here. And yeah, let's see how Ventress rallies for next week. But I'm a big fan of this episode. If you're listening to this episode and you haven't watched Massacre in a while, I really recommend checking it out. I mean, even if you just want to do like a one-hitter, this is a pretty solid one-hitter. You know, you can just watch this and be like, wow, that was intense, crazy Star Wars action. And woof, so much fun. So much freaking fun. Definitely check it out. Definitely recommend checking it out. My goodness. All right. Let's go ahead and I think we should wrap up the show. It's kind of a quick one in that sense, but there's so much action in this episode. There's not a lot of dialogue to parse through. There's not a lot of onion peeling to do in this one. It's really just sit there and behold the glory of the Nightsisters versus the battle droids. It's a really fun episode in that regard, so check it out once again. Another reminder to please follow us on social media at Mando_Vision on Twitter and Instagram. We could use all the likes and followers that we can get our hands on. We truly appreciate that. Unfortunately, social media is just important, and I'm really trying hard to up our presence on it. So if the more you guys can do to like and share and do all that stuff, it means the world to me. Thank you so much. You can also reach out on email, mandovisiontom@gmail.com. Please hit me up with any long-form questions you want to get into. I'll be happy to talk and answer with you about anything Star Wars related. It'd be so much fun. And please, for the podcast, like, subscribe, follow, and share the show with all the Mandalorians in your covert. If you want to support the show, a great way to do so without having to spend a single solitary dollar or dime of your money, sweet 5-star reviews. They help small independent shows like us stand out, not get lost in the shuffle, and defeat the tyranny of the algorithm. So thank you so much. If you want to support the show monetarily, that is an option as well. But remember, this podcast will always be a free podcast. But you can support financially over at patreon.com/Mandovision. You can become a Mandovision maniac, and you will gain access to sweet bonus content. Thank you to our current Patreons, the Aspinall Chody, the Batman Abejo, Jeff Nail. Jeff co-hosts The Ring and Ear, a great music podcast, especially if you're into like smaller, lesser-known bands. That's a great podcast for you to check out. Thanks to Evil Circle, the evilest of all circles, the Squidmaster General Brian Broussard, the New Jersey Devil Mark Wegemer, our very own Joker and Harley Quinn Brian and Krista of Pride Brewing Company here in San Diego, California, and Baltimore, Maryland, the Beer Hop Brigadier General Jesus Beer Hops, the Silent Assassin, he who should not be named, and Syndicate Ram, co-host of Come On It's Still Good, a great movie podcast that I recommend. Check them out as well. And thank you all so much for being supporters of the show. Hope you're enjoying the current batch of bonus content. All right, we are going to get out of here. We're going to be back very soon to follow up Ventress and see where she ends up next. 3 episodes left in this season. 3 episodes left in the season as I smacked my microphone accidentally. Hope that didn't sound too loud in your ears. All right, we'll get out of here. We'll be back very soon. Stay awesome. Stay excellent to each other. Take good care of each other. Again, we're Star Wars fans. We're in this together. And we are trying to do our best to make this a very all-inclusive community. And that means we got no time for toxicity, all right? Toxic Star Wars fandom, got no time for you. Got no place for you. Spread the love, spread the joy. Even if we don't agree with each other, we're still friends, we're still fans, and we love Star Wars. That's all that matters. So go out there, support your friends, support your family, support your loved ones, and bring in some new friends and family and loved ones to Star Wars, because it's the best thing ever. Love it so much. All right, we're out of here. I'll talk to you all soon. Remember, this podcast can only end one way. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.